I never thought I'd be writing this. Hell, I never thought I'd be living this nightmare. But here I am, staring at my computer screen at 2 a.m., trying to make sense of how my life fell apart in just a few short weeks. I'm Paul, 42 years old, and until recently, I thought I had it all. A beautiful wife, Anna, 39, a great stepdaughter, Claire, 17, and a successful career as an architect. We lived in a nice suburb of Chicago, had a circle of close friends, and I genuinely believed we were happy. Yes, I was living in a fool's paradise. It all started about a month ago. Anna and I had been married for 8 years, and I'd been in Claire's life since she was 9. I always thought we had a good relationship, not perfect, but whose family is. Anna worked as a pharmaceutical sales rep, which meant she traveled a lot. I never minded, I trusted her completely and was proud of her success. Claire and I had our ups and downs, typical teenager stuff, but I loved her like my own daughter. But that day, I was working from home, finishing up some blueprints for a new project. Anna was on one of her business trips, and Claire was at school. I needed to print some documents, but my home office printer was out of ink. I remembered Anna mentioning she had some extra cartridges in her desk drawer, so I went to grab one. As I opened her drawer, I noticed a small, unfamiliar box tucked in the back. Curiosity got the better of me, and I pulled it out. Inside were a bunch of hotel key cards, movie ticket stubs, and small souvenirs, nothing unusual for someone who travels for work, except these were all from places Anna had never mentioned visiting. There was even a keychain from Las Vegas, a city she claimed to hate. I had a bad feeling and I told myself I was being paranoid, that there had to be a reasonable explanation. But something didn't feel right. I put everything back exactly as I found it and tried to focus on work. But my mind kept wandering back to that box. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I started paying more attention to Anna's trips, her phone habits, her explanations of where she'd been. Little inconsistencies that I'd never noticed before suddenly seemed pretty obvious. The way she'd turn her phone face down when I entered the room, how she'd step outside to take certain calls, claiming it was work stuff. I hated myself for it, but I started snooping. I'm not proud of it, but I felt like I was going crazy. One night, while Anna was in the shower, I checked her phone. There were several texts from a contact named Mike from work that seemed oddly personal for a colleague. I didn't have time to read them all, but what I saw broke me. Mike, can't wait to see you next week. I've missed you. Anna, me too. These trips are the highlight of my month. I put the phone down, feeling sick. I wanted to confront her right then, but I knew I needed more evidence. What if I was jumping to conclusions? What if Mike was just a close friend? I needed to be sure before I potentially blew up my marriage. The next day, I did something I'm not proud of. I installed a keylogger on our shared home computer. Anna often used it to check her personal email when she didn't want to bother with her work laptop. It felt like a violation, but I was desperate for answers. A week passed, and Anna left for another business trip. As soon as she was gone, I checked the keylogger data. There were emails going back years to a man named Scott. At first, they seemed innocent enough, discussions about work, industry gossip. But as I read on, the tone changed. They became more intimate, filled with inside jokes and references to times they'd spent together. I dug deeper, checking credit card statements and bank records. I found charges for hotels and restaurants in cities Anna had never mentioned visiting for work. There were even plane tickets to Las Vegas, 3 trips in the past year alone. I felt like I was going to be sick. 8 years of marriage, and God knows how many of those were a lie. I thought about all the times I'd kissed her goodbye at the airport, telling her to have a safe trip. How many of those times was she flying off to meet him? But the betrayal went deeper than just Anna. As I continued to investigate, I found messages between Anna and Claire. My stepdaughter, the girl I'd helped raise for 8 years, had known about the affair for at least 2 years. There were texts where Anna was coaching Claire on what to tell me about her trips, asking her to cover for her. Claire had lied to my face, telling me Anna had called when she hadn't, making up stories about her mom's work events. For the next week, I was a wreck. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I'd lie awake at night, replaying every conversation, every interaction, looking for clues I might have missed. How could I have been so blind? During the day, I'd go through the motions at work, but my mind was elsewhere. I'd catch myself staring at photos of us on my desk, wondering if Anna was thinking about Scott when we took them. The hardest part was pretending everything was normal when Anna returned from her trip. I watched her unpack, listened to her stories about boring meetings and networking events, all the while knowing they were lies. Every smile, every kiss felt like a knife in my heart. I wanted to confront her immediately, to scream and yell and demand answers. But I forced myself to wait. I needed to be calm, to have all my facts straight. I couldn't give her any room to deny or deflect. Finally, after 3 agonizing days of pretending, I decided it was time. I waited until Claire was out with friends. I couldn't deal with both of them at once. I sat Anna down in our living room, the same room where we'd spent countless evenings watching movies, talking about our days, planning our future. The irony wasn't lost on me. "We need to talk," I said. Anna looked confused, maybe a little worried. Is everything okay? I laughed. No, everything is not okay. I know about Scott. The color drained from her face. She opened her mouth, probably to deny it, but I cut her off. I laid out everything I'd found. The emails, the credit card charges, the trips to Las Vegas. With each piece of evidence, I watched her crumble a little more. When I finished, there was silence. Anna was crying. I'm so sorry, she finally said, I never meant for it to go on for so long. I love you, I do, but what? I snapped. You love him too? You're confused? Save it, Anna. I don't want to hear your excuses. How long? I asked. How long has this been going on? She hesitated. 5 years, she admitted. But it wasn't always physical. At first, we were just friends. 5 years. More than half of our marriage. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. And Claire? I asked. How long has she known? Anna looked surprised that I knew about Claire's involvement. 2 years, she said. She found out by accident. I made her promise not to tell you. I told her I'd end it. But you didn't, I said flatly. I tried, she claimed. I didn't believe her. I stood up, I couldn't bear to hear any more excuses. I want you out of this house, I said. Go stay with your sister. I'll have divorce papers drawn up. Anna started sobbing harder. Please, Paul, we can work this out. I'll end it with Scott for good this time. I'll do anything. Please don't throw away 8 years of marriage. I laughed again, but there was no humor in it. You threw it away every time you lied to me. Every time you went to see him. You threw it away, not me. She tried to argue more, but I was done listening. I went upstairs and threw some of her clothes into a suitcase. When I came back down, Anna was still on the couch, crying. Get out, I said, dropping the suitcase at her feet. Now. I can't even look at you. As soon as the door closed behind her, I broke down. I cried like I hadn't cried since I was a kid. Dealing with Claire was even harder. She came home the next day, acting like everything was normal. It made me sick. I waited until after dinner to confront her. Your mom is staying with your aunt for a while, I said. I know about Scott, Claire. I know you've been covering for your mom. The look on her face was like a knife to my heart, shock, fear, guilt. It was all there. She started crying immediately. I'm so sorry, she sobbed. Mom made me promise not to tell. She said she'd end it. She said it would break up our family if you knew. And you believed her? I asked. For 2 years, you lied to my face every day. I didn't want to lose you, Claire cried. I was afraid you'd leave if you found out. You're the only dad I've ever really had. I couldn't bear the thought of losing you. I wanted to comfort her. This was the girl I'd helped raise for 8 years. I'd been there for every important moment of her life since she was 9 years old. But every time I looked at her, all I could see was betrayal. Pack your things, I said. You're going to stay with your mom at your aunt's place. Claire's eyes widened in disbelief. What? No, please don't make me leave. She started crying harder, reaching out to me. I stepped back. You should have thought of that before lying to me for 2 years. I can't even look at you right now without feeling betrayed. I need you to go. Claire ran upstairs, sobbing. I heard her moving around, packing. When she came back down, her face was red and puffy from crying. Please, she tried one more time. I love you, Dad. Please don't do this. Hearing her call me Dad nearly broke me, but I stood my ground. Go, I said. Now. The next few days I barely ate, barely slept. I'd wander around the house, looking at photos of our family, wondering how it had all gone so wrong. My colleagues noticed something was off, but I brushed off their concerns. How could I explain that my entire life had been a lie? That the woman I loved had been cheating on me for years? That the child I'd raised as my own had betrayed me? A week after kicking Anna and Claire out, I finally broke down and told my best friend, Ryan, everything. He was shocked, angry on my behalf. He offered to let me stay with him for a while, to get out of the house, but I declined. Ryan suggested I see a therapist, but I brushed him off. The thought of rehashing everything with a stranger seemed exhausting. Besides, what could they tell me that I didn't already know? That I'd been a fool? That I'd trusted too easily? I was already beating myself up enough without paying someone to tell me the same things. 2 weeks after the confrontation, Anna's lawyer contacted me. They wanted to discuss the division of assets, custody arrangements for Claire. In a moment of anger, I went to the bank and withdrew everything from our joint accounts, about $95,000. I knew it probably wasn't legal, but I wasn't thinking straight. I figured half of it was mine anyway, and Anna owed me for years of lies. I put it all in a new account, in just my name. It felt good, for a moment, to take some control back. But the satisfaction was short-lived. Anna's family started blowing up my phone, saying this wasn't right, that I needed to think this through. Her sister left me a voicemail, calling me a heartless bastard for kicking out Claire. Anna's parents, who I thought loved me like a son, were threatening legal action over the money. Some of my friends think I went too far, especially with taking the money and kicking out Claire. They say I'm punishing a kid for an adult's mistake, that I'm letting my anger cloud my judgment. But others think I'm justified, that Anna and Claire betrayed me, and now they're facing the consequences. My own family is divided on how to react. My parents are supportive, angry on my behalf for how I've been treated. But my sister thinks I'm being too harsh, especially with Claire. She keeps reminding me that Claire isn't my flesh and blood, that she was put in an impossible position by her mother. I'm trying to focus on the future, but it's hard. Everything I thought I knew about my life, my family, has been turned upside down. I don't know what to think anymore. It's been a month now since I confronted Anna and started writing this post. Claire has sent me several emails, long, emotional pleas for forgiveness. She's begged me to let her come home, promised she'd make it up to me somehow. Reading them breaks my heart all over again. I haven't responded to any of them. I don't know what to say. So here I am, a month into this nightmare, still unsure of what to do next. I never thought I'd be that guy posting on Reddit about my crumbling marriage, but here we are. I guess I'm looking for advice, or maybe just validation that I'm not crazy for feeling this way. How do you move on when your entire life has been a lie? Update 1. It's been 2 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. I'm not sure if things are better or worse, but they're definitely different. First, the legal battles. Anna's lawyer came at me hard about the money I took from our joint account. They threatened to take me to court for financial misconduct if I didn't return at least half of what I'd withdrawn. After talking it over with my own lawyer, I finally got one. I agreed to transfer half the money back. It felt like admitting defeat, but my lawyer assured me it was the smart move in the long run. The house is another point of problem. Anna wants to sell it and split the proceeds, but I'm not ready to let go. This is the home we built together, literally, I designed it myself. The thought of strangers living here makes me sick. But I also can't afford to buy Anna out on my own. We're at a stalemate for now. As for Claire, that situation has gotten more complicated. About a month ago, she showed up at the house unannounced. I was working in the home office when I heard a knock at the door. When I opened it, there she was, looking small and scared, with a backpack over her shoulder. "I'm sorry," she said before I could speak. "I know you probably don't want to see me, but I didn't know where else to go. I should have sent her away. I wanted to. But seeing her standing there, looking so lost, I couldn't do it. I let her in." It turns out she'd had a huge fight with Anna. Claire had finally confronted her mother about the affair, about making her lie to me for years. Anna had apparently tried to justify her actions, saying that Claire couldn't understand adult relationships. This had led to a screaming match, with Claire accusing Anna of ruining their family. In the heat of the moment, Claire had packed a bag and left and finally ended up at my place. "Can I stay here?" Claire asked. "Just for a few days. I'll find somewhere else to go, I promise," I sighed. "Claire, it's not that simple. You're still a minor. Legally, I can't just let you stay here without your mother's permission." Her face fell. "Please, I can't go back there. I can't face her right now." Against my better judgment, I agreed to let her stay the night. I told her we'd figure things out in the morning. I made up the guest room for her, the same room she'd slept in when she first came to live with us 8 years ago. That night, I heard muffled sobs coming from Claire's room. The next morning, I called Anna to let her know Claire was with me. To say she was upset would be an understatement. She accused me of turning Claire against her, of manipulating the situation. I let her rant, too tired to argue. "She can stay here for now," I said when Anna finally paused for breath. "But we need to figure out a long-term solution. This isn't healthy for any of us." Anna reluctantly agreed, probably realizing she didn't have much choice. Claire was almost 18, and forcing her to come home would likely just push her further away. So now, 2 months after I thought I'd cut all ties with my old life, I find myself living with my stepdaughter again. It's complicated. There are moments when it feels almost normal, like when we're eating dinner together or when I help her with her homework. But then I'll remember everything that's happened, and the anger and hurt come rushing back. Claire's trying, I'll give her that. She's been going to therapy, something I still can't bring myself to do, and she's made multiple attempts to apologize and explain her actions. She's told me how guilty she felt lying to me, how she convinced herself it was the right thing to do to keep our family together. I thought if I just kept quiet, Mom would end it like she promised, she told me one night. I was stupid. I should have told you the truth from the beginning. I want to forgive her. I really do. But every time I start to let my guard down, I remember those 2 years of lies, and I pull back. As for Anna, we're still barely speaking. Our communication is limited to emails about financial matters and Claire's well-being. She's made a few attempts to apologize, to explain herself, but I'm not ready to hear it. I did learn, through Claire, that Anna has ended things with Scott for good. Apparently, he wasn't too keen on the idea of being with Anna full-time, of dealing with all the mess their affair had created. Part of me felt a twisted satisfaction at that. Let her feel a fraction of the rejection and betrayal I've experienced. My friends and family are still divided on how to handle the situation. Some think I'm being too soft by letting Claire stay with me. Others praise me for stepping up and being there for her despite everything. I'm not sure which group is right. I still have days where the anger threatens to overwhelm me. Days where I want to sell the house, change my number, and disappear to start a new life somewhere else. But then I look at Claire, see the fear in her eyes when she thinks I might kick her out again, and I know I can't do it. For better or worse, she's still my family, even if she is not my blood. So that's where things stand now. The divorce proceedings are moving forward, slowly but surely. We'll update if anything happens. Edit to add, after posting the last update, I received a flood of comments and messages. While many were supportive, a significant number questioned my decision to let Claire back into my life. To those asking why I took Claire back, I understand your concerns. Believe me, I've asked myself the same questions countless times. The decision to let Claire stay wasn't easy, and it wasn't made lightly. Yes, she lied to me for 2 years. Yes, she betrayed my trust. And no, she's not my biological daughter. But family isn't always about blood. For 8 years, I was the only father Claire knew. I was there for her first day of high school, taught her to drive, helped with college applications. I celebrated her successes and comforted her through heartbreaks. Those 8 years of love and memories don't just disappear because of 2 years of lies. Claire was a child put in an impossible situation by her mother. She made the wrong choice, absolutely. But she's showing genuine remorse and actively working to make amends. She's in therapy, confronting her actions and their consequences. Am I still hurt? Absolutely. Do I still have moments of anger and resentment? Of course. But I'm trying to separate my feelings about Anna's betrayal from my relationship with Claire. I'm not saying I've forgiven her completely. Trust is still an issue, and we have a long way to go. But I'm giving her a chance to prove herself, to show that she's learned from her mistakes. Maybe I am being too soft. Maybe this will blow up in my face. But I have to follow my heart on this one. Claire needs support right now, and despite everything, I still love her like a daughter. I appreciate everyone's concern and advice. This isn't an easy situation, and there's no clear right or wrong answer. I'm just trying to navigate it the best I can, one day at a time. Update 2. It's been 6 months since my last update, and once again, a lot has changed. Some for the better, some. Well, I'm not sure yet. First, the divorce is final. After months of negotiations, arguments, and compromises, Anna and I are officially no longer married. The house ended up being sold. Neither of us could afford to buy the other out, and living there had become too painful anyway. Every room held memories, both good and bad. It was time to let it go. We split the proceeds, which gave me enough to put a down payment on a smaller place closer to my office. Claire turned 18 2 months ago. We had a small celebration, just the two of us and a cake I picked up from the local bakery. It felt bittersweet. I was proud of the young woman she's becoming, but I couldn't help thinking about all the family birthdays we'd had in the past, before everything fell apart. Our relationship has improved, slowly but surely. The therapy she's been going to seems to be helping. She's more open now, more willing to talk about her feelings and take responsibility for her actions. We've had some hard conversations, but also talking about the good times we shared as a family. One night, after a particularly emotional therapy session, Claire came to me with tears in her eyes. I know I've said it before, she said, but I'm so sorry for everything. I was young and scared, but that's no excuse. You deserved better. I just hope that someday you can forgive me. I hugged her then, for the first time in months. I'm working on it, I told her. And I meant it. Claire's relationship with Anna is still strained. They're talking, but it's clear that the trust between them has been severely damaged. Claire's been spending most of her time with me, only visiting Anna on occasional weekends. As for Anna, well, that's where things get complicated. About a month ago, she reached out, asking if we could meet to talk. My first instinct was to refuse, but curiosity got the better of me. Seeing her again was harder than I expected. I know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness, she said after we'd sat in awkward silence for several minutes. What I did was unforgivable. But I want you to know how sorry I am. Not just for the affair, but for all the lies, for involving Claire, for throwing away everything we had. She went on to explain that she'd been in intensive therapy since our split. She'd been diagnosed with depression and was now on medication. She talked about how she'd been struggling with feelings of inadequacy and a fear of commitment long before she met Scott, how the affair had been a way of sabotaging her own happiness because she didn't feel she deserved it. None of this is an excuse, she said, wiping away tears. I know that. I'm just trying to understand why I did what I did, so I never make the same mistakes again. What do you want from me, Anna? I asked when she'd finished. Why are you telling me all this now? She took a deep breath. I don't expect anything from you, Paul. I know I've lost any right to ask for your trust or forgiveness. I needed you to know that I understand the magnitude of what I've done. And I wanted to thank you for being there for Claire. She tells me how much you've helped her through all of this, even though you had every right to turn your back on her. We talked for a while longer, about Claire, about the divorce, about our separate lives now. It was the longest conversation we'd had in months that didn't involve lawyers or financial negotiations. When we finally parted ways, I felt. I'm not sure. Not better, exactly, but different. Like something had shifted. Claire was curious about my meeting with Anna. When I told her about it, she seemed relieved. I'm glad Mom's getting help, she said. Maybe someday we can all be in the same room without it being awkward and painful. I'm not sure if that's possible, but I appreciate Claire's optimism. As for me, I've finally started seeing a therapist of my own. It took a lot of convincing from Claire and my friends, but I realized I needed to deal with my own issues if I ever wanted to move forward. It's been hard, dredging up all the pain and anger I've been trying to suppress. But it's also been cathartic. My therapist has helped me see patterns in my own behavior, how I tend to avoid conflict, how I sometimes prioritize others' happiness over my own, how I struggle to express my own needs and emotions. I've also started dating again, tentatively. Nothing serious yet, just a few casual dinners with women I've met through friends or work. It feels strange, being single again at 42. I'm rusty, awkward, still carrying a lot of baggage from my marriage. But it's nice to be reminded that there might be a future for me that doesn't revolve around Anna's betrayal. Claire has been supportive of my dating efforts, even offering to help me set up an online dating profile. I declined. I'm not quite ready for that level of putting myself out there, but I appreciate her enthusiasm. You deserve to be happy, Dad, she told me. She's taken to calling me that again, and I find I don't mind it as much as I used to. So that's where things stand now, 6 months later. The dust has settled, somewhat. The acute pain of betrayal has faded to a dull ache. I'm not happy, not yet, but I'm okay. Taking it one day at a time. But for the first time in a long time, I'm starting to believe that there might be a future worth looking forward to. And for now, that's enough.